Lady Diana Spencer stood nervously in front of the massive mirror at Buckingham Palace, adjusting her black silk evening gown one final time. The young woman who would soon become the Princess of Wales had no idea she was about to break one of the most important unwritten rules of royal fashion. The year was 1981, and Diana was attending her first official royal engagement since announcing her engagement to Prince Charles. The black dress seemed elegant enough to her inexperienced eye. It hugged her tall frame perfectly, and the off-shoulder design showcased her natural grace. What Diana didn't realize was that black clothing was traditionally reserved for mourning or the most solemn occasions in royal circles. For a joyful engagement celebration, the color choice sent shockwaves through the palace staff and royal watchers around the world. Queen Elizabeth herself had noticed Diana's choice, but chose not to comment directly. The Queen understood that her future daughter-in-law was still learning the complex web of royal protocols that governed everything from hat angles to hemline lengths. However, the palace fashion experts knew this moment would become a teaching opportunity for the young woman who would soon represent the British monarchy on the world. Staged, the roots of royal dress codes stretch back centuries, far beyond anything Diana could have imagined that evening. These rules weren't created to limit personal expression, but rather to maintain the dignity and respect that the monarchy commanded. Every piece of clothing worn by a royal family member sends a message to the public, to foreign dignitaries, and to the Commonwealth nations that look to Britain's royal family as symbols of stability and tradition. Queen Victoria had established many of the foundational dress rules. During her long reign in the 19th century, after the death of her beloved husband Prince Albert in 1861, Victoria wore black for the remaining 40 years of her life. This extended mourning period influenced royal fashion protocols for generations to come. The Queen's choice to wear black only for mourning became an unbreakable rule that every royal woman was expected to follow. The complexity of royal dress codes extends far beyond simple color choices. The length of skirts, the height of heels, the presence or absence of nail polish, and even the angle of a hat must all conform to specific guidelines. These rules exist because members of the royal family are constantly photographed and scrutinized. A single fashion misstep can dominate headlines for weeks and potentially embarrass the crown. Diana's black dress incident became legendary, not because it was particularly scandalous, but because it highlighted how different royal life would be from anything she had previously experienced. The young kindergarten teacher from a noble family thought she understood proper etiquette, but royal protocols operated on an entirely different level of precision and historical significance. The morning after the engagement celebration, British newspapers were filled with photos of Diana in her controversial black gown. Fashion experts debated whether her choice was a bold statement or simply an innocent mistake. Royal correspondents explained the historical significance of color choices in royal wardrobes, educating the public about traditions that had never been questioned before. Behind palace walls, Diana was receiving her first intensive lessons in royal dress codes from the Queen's personal staff. These sessions weren't meant to criticize her choices, but rather to prepare her for a lifetime of public appearances where every detail would be analyzed and discussed. The Queen Mother, known for her impeccable fashion sense, took a particular interest in guiding Diana through the intricate world of royal style. The education process was overwhelming for someone who had lived a relatively normal life just months before. Diana learned that royal women must always wear stockings in public, regardless of weather or personal comfort. Hemlines must never rise above the knee, and plunging necklines were absolutely forbidden. Even the choice of jewelry required careful consideration, as certain pieces carried historical significance or sent diplomatic messages to other nations. What surprised Diana most was learning that these rules weren't arbitrary, restrictions created to make her life difficult. Each protocol had developed over centuries of royal history, often in response to specific incidents or cultural shifts. The monarchy had survived for over 1,000 years, partly because it adapted to changing times while maintaining core traditions that connected modern royals to their historical predecessors. The hat protocols alone required extensive study. Royal women were expected to wear hats or fascinators to most formal daytime events. But the angle, size, and style all carried meaning. A hat tilted too far forward could obscure the face in photographs, while one positioned too far back might appear disrespectful during solemn occasions. The Queen's hat collection contained hundreds of carefully chosen pieces, each designed for specific types of events and diplomatic meetings. Diana's introduction to royal jewelry protocols proved equally complex. Certain pieces could only be worn by the reigning monarch, while others were reserved for specific ranks within the royal hierarchy. The famous Cambridge lover's knot tiara that Diana would later wear regularly had its own set of rules about appropriate occasions and accompanying outfits. Understanding which pieces complemented which gowns while respecting their historical significance required extensive study and careful planning. Young woman who had chosen that black dress was beginning to understand that becoming a royal meant accepting a level of public scrutiny that would affect every aspect of her personal style. Her clothing choices would be interpreted as political statements, diplomatic messages, and reflections of the monarchy's values. The freedom to simply choose an outfit based on personal preference was a luxury she would have to abandon. Despite the overwhelming nature of these revelations, Diana approached her education with characteristic determination. She recognized that mastering royal dress codes wasn't just about following rules, but about respecting the institution she was joining and the millions of people who looked to the royal family for inspiration and stability. Her willingness to learn and adapt would soon transform her from a fashion novice into one of the most influential style icons of the 20th century. The transformation of Princess Diana's wardrobe became one of the most watched fashion evolutions in modern history. Within months of her wedding to Prince Charles, Diana had assembled a team of designers and royal fashion advisors who understood the delicate balance between personal style and royal protocol. Her journey from kindergarten teacher to global fashion icon would reveal just how powerful royal dress codes could be when properly understood and skillfully navigated. Diana's first major test came during her honeymoon tours of Australia and New Zealand in 1983. The young princess had to pack for a 6-week journey that would include beach visits, formal state dinners, outdoor events, and meetings with heads of government. Every outfit required approval from palace officials who ensured that her choices respected local customs while maintaining royal dignity. The pressure was enormous, but Diana rose to the challenge with remarkable grace. The success of that tour established Diana as a fashion force to be reckoned with. Her ability to choose outfits that honored royal protocols while appearing fresh and modern captured global attention. Fashion magazines around the world began featuring her looks, and designers competed for the opportunity to dress the princess who could make any outfit instantly famous. However, this newfound influence came with even stricter oversight from palace officials. Queen Elizabeth watched her daughter-in-law's growing fashion reputation with mixed feelings. While Diana's style choices brought positive attention to the royal family, they also represented a shift in how the monarchy presented itself to the world. The Queen had always dressed for duty rather than fashion, choosing practical outfits in bright colors that made her easily visible in crowds. Diana's approach was more glamorous and personal, which sometimes conflicted with traditional royal values. The tension between old and new royal fashion philosophies became apparent during state visits and official ceremonies. Diana would arrive wearing cutting-edge designs that photographed beautifully and generated headlines around the world. Meanwhile, other royal women maintained more conservative approaches that emphasized continuity and tradition over individual expression. This contrast highlighted the evolving nature of royal dress codes in the modern era. Behind the scenes, Diana was learning about the diplomatic importance of fashion choices during international visits. When visiting Japan, she incorporated elements of traditional Japanese design into her outfits as a sign of respect. During trips to Middle Eastern countries, she chose more conservative necklines and longer sleeves to honor local customs. These seemingly simple adjustments required extensive research and cultural Sensitivity training. The princess discovered that royal dress codes extended far beyond formal events. Even casual appearances required careful planning to avoid sending unintended messages. A too relaxed outfit might suggest disrespect for the people she was meeting, while overdressing could appear out of touch with ordinary citizens' daily lives. Finding the perfect balance became an art form that Diana mastered through years of trial and error. Palace staff revealed years later that Diana often spent hours planning outfits for important events. She understood that her clothing choices would be analyzed by fashion experts, cultural commentators, and political observers around the world. A poorly chosen accessory could overshadow an important charitable cause she was supporting, while a perfectly coordinated ensemble could amplify her message and reach millions of additional people. The business side of royal fashion proved equally complex. Diana learned that accepting free clothing from designers could create conflicts of interest, or appear to endorse specific brands over others. Royal family members are generally expected to purchase their own clothing to maintain independence from commercial influences. This requirement meant that maintaining an appropriate royal wardrobe required significant personal financial investment. Children's clothing for royal offspring presented another layer of complexity. Prince William and Prince Harry needed outfits that photographed well while allowing them to behave like normal children. Diana insisted on practical fabrics and comfortable fits, but she also had to consider how their clothing choices reflected on the monarchy. The challenge of dressing royal children appropriately, while preserving their childhood innocence, required constant negotiation between personal preferences and public expectations. The seasonal nature of the royal calendar demanded extensive wardrobe planning. Spring brought garden parties and Easter services that required specific types of outfits. Summer meant international tours and outdoor events in various climates. Autumn featured the opening of Parliament and formal ceremonies with distinct dress requirements. Winter brought Christmas celebrations and New Year, events that each had their own protocols and traditions. Weather presented ongoing challenges that most people never consider. Royal events proceed regardless of rain, snow, or extreme temperatures, which means royal wardrobes must account for every possible condition. Diana learned to layer clothing strategically and choose fabrics that would maintain their appearance throughout long days of public appearances. Waterproof makeup and weather-resistant hairstyles became essential elements of her preparation routine. The global media attention surrounding Diana's fashion choices created unprecedented pressure for perfect presentation at every public appearance. A single unflattering photograph could dominate international headlines for days, while a particularly successful outfit might influence fashion trends worldwide. This level of scrutiny meant that every button, seam, and accessory required careful consideration before stepping into public view. Photography angles and lighting conditions influenced outfit choices in ways that most people never imagine. Certain colors appeared washed out under television lights, while others created unflattering shadows in newspaper photographs. Diana's team studied the technical aspects of how different fabrics and cuts would appear in various media formats, ensuring that her message would come across clearly regardless of how the images were captured or reproduced. The princess began to understand that royal dress codes weren't just about following rules, but about communicating effectively with people around the world who might never meet her in person. Her clothing choices could express sympathy during tragic events, celebrate joyful occasions, show respect for different cultures, or demonstrate solidarity with important causes. This realization transformed her approach to fashion from personal expression into a powerful form of nonverbal communication that would define her legacy for generations to come. The royal fashion crisis of 1994 would forever change how the monarchy approached public dress codes and media relations. Princess Diana had decided to attend a private art gallery opening in London, choosing what she thought was a perfectly appropriate black cocktail dress. However, this particular evening coincided with Prince Charles's televised confession of his extramarital affair, and Diana's dramatic appearance would create one of the most analyzed fashion moments in royal history. The dress itself became legendary overnight. The black off-shoulder design by Christina Stambolian had actually been hanging in Diana's closet for 3 years, deemed too daring for previous royal occasions. The princess's decision to finally wear this striking outfit on such a significant evening sent shock waves through the royal establishment and demonstrated how clothing choices could become powerful forms of personal expression. Even within the constraints of royal protocol, what made this fashion moment particularly significant was how it revealed the complex relationship between personal feelings and public presentation that all royal family members must navigate. Diana's choice to wear such a bold outfit, while her husband publicly discussed his infidelity, showed that royal dress codes could be bent, not broken, when personal circumstances demanded it. The message was clear and unmistakable. Even though Diana never spoke a word about her marital problems that evening, palace officials found themselves in an unprecedented situation. Traditional royal dress codes had always emphasized restraint and emotional control. But Diana's outfit clearly expressed feelings that she wasn't allowed to discuss publicly. The incident forced royal advisors to reconsider how dress codes might need to evolve to accommodate the changing media landscape and public expectations for authentic emotional expression. From royal family members, the international media response to Diana's fashion choice demonstrated the global power of royal dress codes to communicate across cultural and linguistic barriers. Fashion magazines around the world featured the dress on their covers, while political commentators analyzed the strategic timing of her appearance. The outfit became known as the revenge dress, a term that entered popular culture and influenced how people thought. It's about using fashion to express defiance and personal strength. Behind the scenes, other royal women were watching Diana's bold fashion statement with fascination and concern. The Queen Mother, known for her traditional approach to royal presentation, worried about the precedent being set. However, younger members of the royal family began to see new possibilities for using fashion as a form of personal communication. While still respecting fundamental royal protocols and traditions, the aftermath of the revenge dress incident led to important conversations within the royal household about modernizing dress codes. Without abandoning essential traditions, palace advisors recognized that completely rigid rules might force future royal family members into increasingly rebellious fashion choices. The challenge was finding ways to allow for personal expression while maintaining the dignity and respect that the monarchy required. Diana's growing confidence in using fashion to communicate her values became evident in her charitable work. When visiting hospitals and homeless shelters, she deliberately chose more casual outfits that helped her connect with people in difficult circumstances. Her decision to shake hands with AIDS patients while wearing elegant but approachable clothing helped reduce stigma and fear surrounding the disease. These fashion choices demonstrated how royal dress codes could be adapted to serve humanitarian purposes. The princess's international humanitarian work required an entirely new approach to royal fashion protocols. When visiting landmine victims in Angola, Diana needed outfits that were respectful and practical while clearly identifying her as a representative of the British royal family. Her choice to wear simple khaki clothing with minimal jewelry showed how traditional royal glamour could be set aside when the mission demanded a different approach. Children's charities presented unique fashion challenges that required careful balance between approachability and authority. Diana discovered that overly formal outfits could intimidate young people she was trying to help, while clothes that were too casual might not convey the importance of the royal family's support for their causes. Finding the right balance required extensive consultation with charity workers and careful observation of how different outfits affected her interactions with vulnerable children. The technical aspects of international travel added another layer of complexity to Diana's fashion choices. Different climates, cultural expectations, and security requirements all influenced what she could wear in various countries. Her wardrobe team developed detailed protocols for researching local customs and weather conditions, in advance of each trip, ensuring that her outfits would be both respectful and practical. Security concerns. sometimes overrode fashion preferences in ways that the public never realized. Certain types of jewelry could create safety risks in crowded situations, while flowing fabrics might interfere with protection officers' ability to respond quickly to threats. Diana learned to work closely with security teams to choose outfits that allowed her to look appropriately royal while ensuring everyone's safety during public appearances. The business of royal fashion became increasingly complex as Diana's influence grew. Designers around the world wanted to dress the princess, but accepting their offers could create diplomatic problems if certain countries or companies were favored over others. The palace developed strict protocols for how royal family members could work with fashion designers while maintaining political neutrality and avoiding commercial endorsements. Photography technology was evolving rapidly during Diana's era, creating new challenges for royal fashion planning. High-definition cameras and satellite television transmission meant that every detail of an outfit would be visible to global audiences in ways that previous generations of royal women never had to consider. Colors, fabrics, and cuts that looked appropriate in person might appear completely different on television screens. Around the world, the princess's willingness to experiment with fashion while respecting fundamental royal protocols inspired a generation of royal women viewed dress codes as guidelines, rather than absolute restrictions. Her approach demonstrated that personal style and royal duty could coexist. When fashion choices were made thoughtfully and with clear communication purposes, this evolution would influence how future royal family members approached their public presentation for decades to come. Diana's legacy in royal fashion extended far beyond individual outfit choices to encompass a new understanding of how clothing could be used to connect with people, support important causes, and maintain relevance in a rapidly changing world. Her willingness to push boundaries while respecting essential traditions created a template that would guide future royal women in navigating the complex relationship between personal expression and public responsibility. Catherine Middleton knew her wedding dress would be scrutinized by billions of people around the world, but she had no idea that her choice would spark a global debate about modernizing royal fashion while honoring centuries of tradition. The young woman, who would become the Duchess of Cambridge, spent months working with designer Sarah Burton to create a gown that would satisfy both personal preferences and complex royal protocols that governed everything from neckline height to train length. The wedding dress selection process revealed the intricate decision-making that goes into every major royal fashion moment. Catherine's team had to consider how the dress would photograph from multiple angles, how it would move during the ceremony, whether it would be appropriate for the religious setting, and how it would represent British fashion to the international community. Every element, from the lace pattern to the button placement, required approval from palace officials who understood the symbolic importance of royal wedding attire. The choice to use British lace and employ British craftspeople for the dress construction sent a powerful message about supporting domestic industry during difficult economic times. This decision demonstrated how royal fashion choices could serve broader political and economic purposes. Beyond simple personal style preferences, Catherine's wedding dress became a symbol of national pride and craftsmanship that generated positive publicity. For British fashion designers and manufacturers around the world, the global response to Catherine's wedding dress choices established her as a new type of royal fashion icon who could balance accessibility with appropriate royal glamour. Unlike previous royal brides who often chose more traditional or conservative designs, Catherine's dress felt both timeless and contemporary. This balance would become her signature approach to royal fashion throughout her marriage, influencing how an entire generation viewed appropriate dress for royal occasions. The months following the royal wedding revealed how Catherine's fashion choices would be analyzed and copied on an unprecedented scale. Every outfit she wore in public would sell out within hours, creating what fashion experts called the Kate effect. This level of influence meant that her clothing decisions had real economic impact on British fashion retailers and designers, adding another layer of responsibility to her already complex relationship with royal dress. Codes. Catherine's transition from commoner to royal required intensive education about protocols that had never been relevant to her previous life. She learned that royal women must always carry weights sewn into their hemlines to prevent embarrassing situations in windy weather. Backup outfits must be prepared for every public appearance in case of accidents or unexpected weather changes. Even something as simple as removing a coat required specific techniques to maintain dignity while being photographed from every conceivable angle. The Duchess discovered that royal dress codes extended to seemingly minor details that most people would never consider. The height of her heels needed to be appropriate for walking on various surfaces, while maintaining proper posture during long public events. Handbag choices required consideration of what items needed to be accessible, while ensuring that the bag's style and color complemented her outfit, without creating distracting visual elements in photographs. International diplomatic visits presented Catherine with complex fashion challenges that required extensive cultural research and sensitivity. Her choice to incorporate elements of host countries' traditional designs into her outfits showed respect for local customs while maintaining her identity as a British royal representative. These diplomatic fashion choices required months of advanced planning and consultation with embassy officials and cultural experts. The seasonal nature of royal engagements meant that Catherine needed to maintain extensive wardrobes for every type of weather and occasion. Spring garden parties required different outfit considerations than winter charity galas, while summer outdoor events demanded completely different approaches to fabric selection and color choices. The logistics of maintaining appropriate royal wardrobes for every possible situation proved overwhelming for someone unaccustomed to such detailed planning. Requirements. Children's events required Catherine to develop an entirely new set of fashion guidelines that balanced royal protocol with practical considerations for interacting with young people. Her outfits needed to be approachable enough to put children at ease, while still maintaining the authority and dignity expected of royal representatives. This balance often meant choosing more casual fabrics and simpler accessories while ensuring that every element remained appropriate for royal standards. The business aspects of royal fashion proved more complex than Catherine had anticipated during her years as a private citizen. She learned that royal family members generally purchase their own clothing to avoid conflicts of interest with designers or retailers. However, the cost of maintaining appropriate royal wardrobes for the constant round of public engagements could be substantial, requiring careful budgeting and strategic planning for major purchases. Photography considerations influenced every aspect of Catherine's fashion choices in ways that weren't immediately obvious to observers. Certain patterns could create visual distortions on television, while particular color combinations might not reproduce well in newspaper photographs. Her styling team developed expertise in understanding how different fabrics and cuts would appear across various media formats, ensuring that her message would be communicated clearly, regardless of how images were captured or reproduced. The technical requirements of royal fashion extended to practical considerations that most people never contemplate. Catherine's outfits needed to allow for extensive standing, walking on uneven surfaces, getting in and out of vehicles gracefully, and maintaining perfect presentation throughout extremely long public events. These requirements often meant choosing specific types of fabrics, fits, and construction techniques that prioritized functionality alongside visual appeal. Security protocols sometimes required fashion compromises that weren't apparent to public observers. Certain types of jewelry might create safety risks in crowded situations, while particular fabrics could interfere with security equipment or procedures. Catherine learned to work closely with protection officers to ensure that her fashion choices never compromised anyone's safety while still meeting royal presentation standards. The global influence of Catherine's fashion choices created unprecedented pressure for perfect presentation at every public appearance. Fashion magazines around the world featured detailed analyses of her outfits, while social media amplified both praise and criticism of her choices instantaneously. This level of scrutiny meant that every button accessory and styling detail required careful consideration before stepping into public view. The evolution of Catherine's personal style demonstrated how royal dress codes could accommodate individual preferences while maintaining essential traditions and protocols. Her willingness to experiment with different designers, color palettes, and silhouettes showed that royal fashion could be both personal and appropriate. This approach influenced how future royal women would navigate the complex relationship between self-expression and institutional requirements. Catherine's approach to royal fashion established new precedents for how modern royal women could use clothing to connect with people while respecting historical traditions. Her success in balancing accessibility with appropriate royal glamour created a template that would influence royal fashion protocols for generations to come, proving that dress codes could evolve to meet contemporary expectations. While preserving essential elements of royal dignity and respect, Queen Elizabeth's final years on the throne revealed how royal dress codes had evolved dramatically during her 70-year reign. Yet certain fundamental principles remained absolutely unchanged. The monarch who had begun her reign wearing formal gowns and elaborate tiaras for most public appearances had adapted her wardrobe to accommodate an aging body while maintaining the dignity and authority that the crown required. Her journey demonstrated how personal needs and changing times could influence royal fashion without abandoning essential traditions. The Queen's signature bright colors had become one of her most recognizable fashion strategies, developed over decades of public appearances where visibility was paramount. Her choice to wear vivid blues, pinks, yellows, and greens ensured that she could be easily spotted in crowds, photographed clearly from great distances, and immediately identified by television viewers around the world. This practical approach to royal dressing influenced how other family members thought about their own color choices and visual impact. Behind the scenes, the Queen's wardrobe team had developed incredibly sophisticated systems for managing her extensive clothing requirements. Every outfit was carefully cataloged with detailed notes about where and when it had been worn, ensuring that she never repeated an ensemble for events that might be attended by the same people or covered by the same media outlets. This level of organization required years of record-keeping and strategic planning that most people could never imagine. The monarch's handbag became one of the most analyzed accessories in fashion history, serving purposes that extended far beyond simple style choices. Palace staff revealed that the Queen used her handbag placement to send discreet signals to her security team and personal assistants about her desire to continue or conclude conversations with various people. This ingenious communication system allowed her to maintain control over her schedule while appearing completely natural and spontaneous in her interactions. The Queen's approach to jewelry demonstrated how royal accessories could serve diplomatic and historical purposes that transcended simple ornamentation. Her choice to wear specific tiaras, brooches, or necklaces often honored the countries she was visiting, commemorated important anniversaries, or acknowledged gifts from foreign dignitaries. These seemingly simple accessory decisions required extensive research and cultural sensitivity to ensure that her choices conveyed appropriate messages to international audiences. The seasonal nature of the royal calendar had shaped the Queen's wardrobe planning for 7 decades, creating established patterns and traditions that guided her fashion choices throughout the year. Spring brought the Chelsea Flower Show and garden parties that required specific types of outfits suitable for outdoor events. Summer featured international tours and the Edinburgh Festival that demanded versatile wardrobes for varying climates and cultural settings. Autumn brought the state opening of Parliament and formal ceremonies that required traditional regalia and formal gowns. The Queen's Christmas Day broadcasts became annual opportunities to observe how her fashion choices had evolved while maintaining consistency with her established image. Her selection of outfits for these globally televised addresses required careful consideration of colors that would reproduce well on television screens around the world, jewelry that would catch light appropriately, and overall styling that would feel both festive and appropriately formal for such an important annual tradition. The practical challenges of dressing an aging monarch required innovative solutions that maintained royal dignity while accommodating physical limitations that come with advanced age. The Queen's styling team developed techniques for ensuring that her outfits would be comfortable during long ceremonies, easy to manage during frequent wardrobe changes, and appropriate for situations where she might need to sit for extended periods or navigate stairs and uneven surfaces. The Queen's influence on global fashion extended beyond her personal choices to encompass her role in supporting British designers and fashion industry initiatives. Her decision to showcase British talent through her clothing choices provided invaluable publicity for domestic designers and manufacturers, demonstrating how royal fashion could serve broader economic and cultural purposes. This support helped establish London as a major international fashion capital and influenced how other royal families thought about their own roles in promoting national design. Talent. The technical aspects of royal photography had influenced the Queen's fashion choices throughout her reign, requiring constant adaptation to changing camera technology and media formats. Her styling team understood how different colors, patterns, textures would appear in black and white photographs, color film, and eventually digital media. This technical expertise ensured that her image would be reproduced clearly and appropriately across all forms of media coverage throughout her unprecedented 70-year reign. The Queen's state visit wardrobes represented some of the most complex fashion planning in royal history, requiring months of advanced preparation and cultural research. Her outfits needed to show respect for host countries' traditions, while clearly identifying her as the British monarch. The logistics of transporting appropriate clothing for every possible weather, condition, and social occasion during extensive international tours required military-level organization and contingency planning. The monarch's evening wear, choices for state banquets, and formal receptions demonstrated how traditional royal glamour could evolve while maintaining essential elements of majesty and authority. Her collection of evening gowns, developed over decades, included pieces that could be updated with different accessories or styling choices to create fresh looks, while respecting the formality that such occasions demanded. This approach showed how royal fashion could be both economical and appropriate for the most prestigious diplomatic events. The Queen's approach to morning dress revealed how personal grief and public responsibility intersected in complex ways for royal family members. Her choice to wear black for appropriate periods after deaths of family members or significant public figures required careful consideration of how long such observances should continue and when normal fashion choices could resume. These decisions influenced how other royal women approached similar situations throughout their own public lives. The legacy of the Queen's fashion choices extended far beyond individual outfit selections to encompass a comprehensive approach to royal presentation that balanced tradition with practical necessities. Her willingness to adapt her style to changing circumstances while maintaining core elements of royal dignity created templates that would guide future monarchs and royal family members for generations to come. The Queen's final public appearances demonstrated how a lifetime of experience with royal dress codes had created an instinctive understanding of appropriate choices for every conceivable situation. Her ability to convey authority, warmth, accessibility, and dignity through carefully chosen outfits represented the culmination of 7 decades of experience in using fashion as a tool for effective royal communication and representation. The coronation of King Charles marked the beginning of a new era in royal fashion protocols, with changes that reflected both modern sensibilities and deep respect for traditions that had guided the monarchy. For over 1,000 years, the ceremonies of May 2023 showcased how royal dress codes had evolved to accommodate contemporary expectations while maintaining the essential dignity and symbolism that coronations required. Every outfit worn by royal family members that day represented months of careful planning and consideration of historical precedents. Princess Catherine's coronation ensemble demonstrated how modern royal women could honor traditional requirements while expressing personal style within established parameters. Her choice of a silver and white dress by Alexander McQueen, paired with a floral headpiece instead of a traditional tiara, showed how royal fashion could evolve to feel fresh and contemporary while respecting the solemnity of such historic occasions. The decision to wear a British designer supported domestic fashion industry while maintaining appropriate royal glamour. The new generation of royal children presented unique challenges for coronation dress planning that required balancing childlike comfort with the formality demanded by such a significant state occasion. Prince George's role as a page of honor meant his outfit needed to allow for the physical demands of carrying ceremonial items while maintaining perfect presentation throughout hours of ceremony. The planning team had to consider how children's clothing would appear in photographs that would become part of historical records for centuries to come. Behind the scenes, the coronation revealed the incredible complexity of modern royal fashion logistics in an age of instant global communication and social media analysis. Every outfit choice was photographed from dozens of angles by hundreds of photographers and analyzed immediately by fashion experts around the world. This level of scrutiny required unprecedented attention to detail in fabric selection, fit, and styling to ensure that every royal family member looked appropriately formal while remaining comfortable throughout extremely long ceremonial requirements. The international guest list for the coronation created additional layers of fashion complexity that demonstrated how royal dress codes must accommodate diplomatic considerations. Alongside traditional requirements, representatives from dozens of countries attended wearing their own traditional formal attire, creating a visual tapestry that required careful coordination to ensure that British royal family members would stand out appropriately while showing respect for visiting dignitaries and their cultural traditions. The coronation ceremonies highlighted how weather contingencies had become an essential element of royal fashion planning in an era of climate change and unpredictable conditions. Backup outfit options were prepared for every possible weather scenario, while primary ensemble choices needed to work equally well in bright sunshine or unexpected rain. These practical considerations required extensive testing and preparation that most observers never realized was happening behind the scenes. The global television coverage of the coronation demonstrated how modern broadcasting technology had transformed royal fashion requirements in ways that previous generations could never have anticipated. High-definition cameras and multiple camera angles meant that every detail of royal outfits would be visible to billions of viewers around the world. Fabric choices, construction techniques, and styling details all required consideration of how they would appear on television screens. In dozens of different countries with varying broadcasting standards, the coronation revealed how social media had fundamentally changed the impact and analysis of royal fashion choices in real-time ways that created new pressures and opportunities. Fashion experts and ordinary observers could comment immediately on outfit choices, creating instant global conversations about everything from color selections to accessory choices. This immediate feedback loop required royal fashion teams to consider not just traditional protocol requirements, but also how choices would be received and interpreted by diverse global audiences. The economic impact of coronation fashion choices demonstrated how royal dress codes had become powerful tools for supporting British fashion industry and promoting national design talent to global markets. The decision to feature British designers prominently throughout the ceremonies provided invaluable international publicity that would influence tourism, fashion exports, and the country's cultural reputation for years to come. These economic considerations had become essential elements of royal fashion planning at the highest levels. The coronation planning process revealed how modern royal fashion Teams must balance historical accuracy with contemporary safety and comfort, requirements that didn't exist in previous centuries. Ancient ceremonial robes required modification to accommodate modern security equipment, while traditional crown jewels needed specialized handling procedures to ensure safety during lengthy ceremonies. These practical adaptations had to be implemented invisibly to maintain the ceremonial dignity that such occasions demanded. The role of sustainability in modern royal fashion became apparent through the coronation preparations, with increased attention to how ceremonial garments could be constructed and maintained in environmentally responsible ways. Traditional techniques were combined with modern, sustainable practices to create outfits that would honor historical precedents while reflecting contemporary values about environmental stewardship and responsible consumption. The coronation demonstrated how royal dress codes had evolved to accommodate the diverse backgrounds and cultural traditions of modern royal family members, while maintaining essential British royal traditions. Family members from different cultural backgrounds were able to incorporate elements of their heritage into appropriate royal formal wear, showing how the monarchy could honor diversity while preserving core institutional values and presentation standards. The international media coverage following the coronation revealed how royal fashion choices continue to influence global style trends and consumer behavior in ways that extend far beyond the immediate royal family. Fashion retailers around the world reported increased sales of items similar to those worn by royal family members during the ceremonies, demonstrating the continued economic and cultural power of royal fashion influence in the modern marketplace. The coronation legacy established new templates for how future royal occasions would balance tradition with contemporary expectations, accessibility with appropriate formality, and personal expression with institutional requirements. The successful navigation of these complex considerations during such a historically significant event demonstrated how royal dress codes could continue to evolve while preserving essential elements that connect modern monarchy to centuries of tradition and continuity. The future of royal fashion protocols, as established through the coronation experience, would continue to balance respect for historical traditions with adaptation to changing social expectations, technological capabilities, and global cultural considerations. This ongoing evolution ensures that royal dress codes remain relevant and meaningful while preserving the dignity and symbolic importance that have sustained the monarchy through centuries of social and political transformation.